Very important. Do not forget to look up the numbers on this airplane. You can just Google it to see what happened to that plane. I was in that plane. It was a life-changing weekend, and one I'd rather forget. We're obviously in a hurry. We're loading the plane fast. You can see she's looking down the glacier, and the weather's rolling in. So I didn't really want to get back into this story that I've had to tell many times before about this incident in Alaska and about this airplane. And I'm going to leave it up to you guys. I'll put it in the description too, to look up the number on the plane. You can find out just by punching in that number in Google what happened to that plane and the story. And I was there. So the last video I made, I was telling you about the avalanche. Be sure you watch this video too, because that's the start of this story. I made this video a couple days ago. Incoming. It's about the avalanche and the whole start of this weekend. And the plane that dropped us off, that's this plane here. And the pilot, Kelly Mahoney. She deserves this video. I could make 100 videos for her and still be happy because she deserves this. She basically saved our lives 2 days before her incident. So we spent a couple days up there. There was a big earthquake that happened while we were up there in Alaska. And it shook the heck out of all the peaks, and a lot of the glaciers that were around us let off some pretty massive avalanches. So no big deal. We were fine. Everything went great for us. But we did need to get out of that glacier, and there was a storm coming in, and our pilot was very apprehensive about coming in to get us. And I know this just because of what happened after. And it's very foggy. It's hard to land on these glaciers. As you can see, it's all white. So if you have white weather, clouds, and fog, you can't really determine where anything is down on the glacier unless you see something like people or tents or something. Anyway, she was able to get in there, turn the plane around, and I loaded up that plane faster than I've ever loaded any plane before because this storm was coming. I loaded up the guys, the stuff, we got in, put our seat belts on. I got in the front seat next to the pilot, Kelly, and she started to take off. Now, the way it works on a glacier is, you got a lot of snow. It's real soft, and it's hard to get that plane up in the air, especially when it's loaded down with gear. So we're heading down that glacier, and she's hopping the plane over some humps just to get us airborne. And we get up, and we barely clear this big crevasse field. That's all those big cracks in the glacier. And down lower, where we were heading toward, they're more exposed. There's less snow down there. So we just cleared it. I wish I had a video of that. Just cleared those crevasses and then got back to town. She let us out. She had to go get a couple more people, but it was getting too late, so she had to go get them the next day. And we woke up the next day. We're having breakfast. We're sitting in a little cafe down the street. And, this town is full of mountain climbers and pilots and glacier pilots, bush pilots. And I hear somebody say, yeah, they crashed up near so-and-so. And I'm like, whoa, there's been a crash. I wonder where, what happened. And, I'm not even thinking really of Kelly at this point because I don't even know if she's taken off yet to go get the other groups of people. And these were not my people. These were just separate groups that she needed to get back to after all these incidents with the earthquake and everything and the storm that is coming in. So she's, the storm has let up enough to pilots to go in a little bit. And anyway, so we're sitting in the cafe hearing something about a crash, and then I get closer to the conversation, and I hear it was McKinley Air, and that's Kelly. And there's a couple pilots, so I'm not sure what's going on. I ask people, they don't know. So we walk outside, and we walk across the street to the ranger station, and we get word that it was Kelly's plane. That plane I show you here in the video. Now, if you want to know what really happened to the plane and the story, you can just Google that. It was bad weather. She ran into a ridge way up high in the mountains. I believe there was 4 people killed, 2 climbers, her and another person flight seeing. So anyway, now, a little background real quick. Kelly and her wife had just moved to Talkeetna recently in the last year before this, but she had been flying up there a lot. She had a lot of experience, and it wasn't because of experience. It was weather. Maybe she did make a bad call by, trying to get up over that ridge or even going in there. But, the bottom line is she's not with us anymore. and it was pretty heavy duty. I'm still in town. I'm still fresh off the Glacier. She just unloaded us out of that plane that's now destroyed and gone, and the people are gone. So anyway, I just needed to share the rest of that story with you, because after the avalanche and getting out of there barely over those crevasses and then hearing this, it was a pretty heavy weekend, and something to remember. Not something I can forget, that's for sure. Please like and subscribe if you're enjoying these stories. Usually I try to share stuff a little more upbeat, and that wasn't. But thanks for watching anyway.